Hi everyone, and welcome to tonight's session. For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere with me, I hope you've had a fantastic day. And for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, I know you are just starting your day, so good morning to you. As you jump onto tonight's session, let me know where you are tuning in from: Australia, New Zealand, UK, Canada, America. I always love seeing where you are listening in from. So make sure you click in the like button as I give you pieces of value throughout the session. So I have an interesting question to pose to you. What would happen if you were walking down the street and there's cafes and people are having coffees and hot chocolates and eating and drinking and having a wonderful time, and you notice someone and you kind of have a double take, and then you see that they're looking directly at you and they call you over. And a part of you is a bit freaked out, but you're really curious. So you go over to the table and you sit down, and you're sitting across from you 5 years from now. They look a little bit different to you, but you can see a lot of similarities. Now, in the story Aladdin only got 3 wishes from the genie. And in Back to the Future, you can't ever meet yourself. Your mind would discombobulate. But for argument's sake, you can sit across from yourself 5 years from now. And 5 years from now says to you, hello. And, you're quite taken aback. And 5 years from now says, ask me as many things as you want. Some people don't want to know what their future holds. Some people like being surprised. But others, oh boy, if you could have a crystal ball, all the fun you could have, all the hurdles you could overcome, all the pain and sacrifices you would endure if you knew absolutely for certain that it was worth it. Because you could ask yourself 5 years from now everything that's happened. Now, in Twilight, Alice could see the future, but Edward said not everything that she sees is guaranteed. As soon as someone changes their mind, the future changes too. As soon as a decision is made, the future changes. But how interesting would it be to have that conversation? Now, you 5 years from now, they look a little bit different. They're healthier than you. They're happier than you. They look a bit more fancier than you. So, my question to you is, what would you ask you 5 years from now? What things would you want to know? You see, there's a movie called About Time, and all the men in the family, they can, go back in time to any point, really. Except they cannot change anything that happens before the birth of a child. Otherwise, they will change that child. So in that movie, the dad has cancer. And the son is like, why wouldn't you go back and not smoke and not get the cancer? And his dad's pretty, got a bit of swagger to him. And he's like, I wouldn't have had you. And your mother definitely would not have gone out with me. I was a really cool smoker. But what he did was he passed on very important knowledge to his son. And I don't want to give that knowledge away because I want you to watch the movie and see what happens. But it is a very interesting ideology to be able to speak to yourself 5 years from now. And what are you doing? Where do you live? Are you married? Do you have kids? What kind of things would you want to know about yourself? And the most interesting question I pose to you of all is, would you ask anything at all? Or would you just get up and walk away as if you never saw yourself 5 years from now? People would love to have a crystal ball. People want to be guaranteed of things. You pay a coach $6,000 and work with them for 90 days and they'll 10x your business. Well, if your coach promises that, I call bullshit on it. Unless they offer them 100% money back guarantee if it doesn't happen. There are no guarantees in life. Some people can smoke all their life and live well into their 90s and never get sick. People could smoke and quit smoking and die of lung cancer. There's no guarantees. What you can be guaranteed of is that your future is up to you. You see, it's really interesting to me, all the X-Men movies. And every time they go back into the past, you think that they fixed it. They stopped the war. And then you watch Logan and it was all for nothing. Can you change the past to change the future? You can learn from the past. And that's a really important lesson that time teaches Alice in Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. She thinks that if she goes back in time and stops something happening to the Red Queen, that somehow all of the terrible things the Red Queen did never happens. But she doesn't stop it. She learned something else, and that's what time says to her, Alice. You can't change the past. You can only learn from it. And in Back to the Future, we see that Marty and Jennifer go to the future. And, Marty was in an accident and Marty got fired and his whole life was ruined because of the car accident that he got into. And, we see that he doesn't get into that car accident and he doesn't hit the Rolls Royce. And when Doc comes back, Jennifer says, Doc, I bought this back from the future, but it's been erased. And Doc is like, of course it's been erased. The future hasn't happened yet. And whilst it would be beautiful to have that crystal ball that, yes, if you invest in this, you're going to be a millionaire. If you do this, you're going to be a millionaire. If you do this, yes, you're the next big thing. But between now and 5 years, a lot of things will happen. You'll get married or divorced. You'll have kids, have miscarriages. You'll decide to not have kids. You'll just travel instead, or have fur kids instead. You'll change careers and maybe you'll go back to school. So the question to be asked is, if you wouldn't speak to you 5 years from now and you wouldn't want the crystal ball, what's the point? What's the point in striving for something if there's no guarantees it'll be a success? Well, the question can be posed, what if Thomas Edison gave up on the light bulb? What if Albert Einstein gave up on the theory of relativity? What if singers didn't pursue singing? What if actors didn't pursue acting and tell stories? People take risks. They take chances. And sometimes it pays off brilliantly. And sometimes it blows up in your face. And there was a time in my life that I really wallowed about the mistakes in my life. There was a time in my life that I really was the what if girl. Oh, what if I did this? Oh, what if I did that? Oh, what if I didn't do this? Oh, what if I didn't do that? Oh, what if I said yes to this opportunity? Oh, what if I did that? And it can drive you insane. But if you can try looking at it another way, if you can find the silver lining, you'll find the lesson to be learnt from, that the next opportunity you'll be more level-headed, or you'll ask more questions, or you'll do more research, or you'll investigate a little bit more. And whatever the opportunity is, it's gonna have to prove itself to you, because you've got a bar. You've got expectations, realistic expectations. And as you start trusting yourself, and as you start researching and really taking the time to do what's called due diligence, your bullshit radar, hey Callie, will be very fine-tuned, and people won't be able to bullshit you. They won't be able to say, yeah, give me $6,000 and in 90 days I will 10x your business. Like, how? How are you going to 10x my business? What are you going to do with that kind of money? And they'll be like, they'll either have their answers because they do know what they're doing and they've got, testimonial after testimonial to back them up, or they're full of bullshit and, they're just peddling. So as much as it would be wonderful to talk to yourself 5 years from now, I would say that who you are 5 years from now is going to change 1,000 times. And another 1,000 times. And another 1,000 times after that. If you're only focused on the destination, you miss the joy in the process. There was a movie I watched earlier this year, Abominable. The little girl, she's got an abominable snowman on her roof. And she's gonna, because it's just a little kid, the abominable snowman. She decides that she's gonna get this abominable snowman back to its family on Mount Everest. And she had this whole plan to travel the world with her dad before he passed away. And what happens is at the end of the movie, the abominable snowman makes her take a moment, catch her breath. and makes her realize that she has seen all the places and that she's done all the things that she wanted to do on her destination to Mount Everest. The Abominable Snowman makes her look at the journey and enjoy the journey, knowing that the destination will come, but the journey must be enjoyed along the way. It's all well and good to say, I want to be 50 kilos lighter, but you have to celebrate every 5 kilos lost. You can definitely visualize wearing a bikini, but you have to celebrate every dress size going down, every, notch in the belt, and then having to buy a new smaller belt. You have to, on your way to getting to being vice president of the company, you have to recognize the achievements of the little promotions along the way, and you have to enjoy the journey. Because if you're just focused on the destination and you miss the journey, you actually miss some really important experiences and some really important highlights. You see, at the end of someone's life, they tend to remember the really incredible things that happened in their life. They don't tend to really reminisce about bad things that happened. And when you can get to the point in your life where you don't regret, and that every lesson learnt, whether the result was a great result or a terrible result, as long as you took a lesson away from the experience that can make the next experience even better, that terrible time is worth it. All of the crappy boyfriends, all of the crappy girlfriends before meeting the love of your life allowed you to set your bar of what you will not accept, what you will not tolerate, what is just not allowed in your atmosphere, so that the person that you're growing old with, you are so in sync with each other. You are on the same page of the same book, and you are traveling the same path together. Maybe you're side by side, maybe one's leading the other, but you're on that same path. And whilst it was terrible, each of the ex-relationships, those ex-relationships helped you to cultivate your ultimate relationship. And it's the same with jobs. You've had shitty jobs. You've had shitty bosses. You've had shitty hours. You've had shitty workloads. You've been burnt out. But each of those jobs have shown you what you will allow to be your job. Those jobs have showed you the workload that is acceptable to you, the work hours and the work environment that is acceptable to you. And you set a bar and a standard for what your job looks like, what your responsibilities, your obligations, and your commitments look like. So whilst it can be like, oh my gosh, why did I stay in that job for as long as I did? Take the lesson and turn it on its head. I'm so thankful for that job. It paid my bills. It paid my expenses. It taught me what I truly want to do as a job. It taught me what I truly want to do as my career. It taught me what I truly want to wake up and go to and do as a job every day. And how you talk and your language, as I've been talking to you each session, universe does not hear you hate your job and puts you in the job you want. Universe just thinks you hate your job and you want to hate your job. So you have to tell universe what you want. And who you are 5 years from now, you can manifest that into your life. You can have an idea of who you would want that person to be sitting at that cafe. You can manifest what you want them to tell you, what you want them to say. You know, validation that, yeah, you're the vice president, you know, of your company. You know, it took you 3 years to get there, but you're here and you love it. And it's your dream job. And yeah, you did marry that boy, or you did marry that girl. And yeah, life is amazing. Life is fantastic. Yeah, you did travel. Yeah, you are debt-free. Yeah, you don't owe anyone, anywhere, anything. You can start cultivating that, but you have to speak it out to the universe. So, my question to you is, now that I've posed the question to you, what would you want you 5 years from now to validate for you? What would you want your future to speak into you? Yes, you did write your book. Yes, it did get published. Yes, it is successful. Yes, you did go back to school. Yes, you did get that qualification. Yes, you do have that job, and it's your dream job. You love it. And what can happen is, as you start calling in the life that you want, as I keep saying, universe has no option but to make it happen. What you speak is what you get. So if you say, I'm broke, I hate my job, never gonna get out of this, universe thinks you like that. Whereas if you say, I'm rich, I love my job, my life is amazing, universe is like, okay, I've got to put money in his account. I've got to put money in her account because they like money. They respect money. Oh, I've got to fix their job. I've got to fix their environment because they want a good job. They want a good environment. Oh, I've got to change their lifestyle. I've got to fix their lifestyle because they want it. So, what does you 5 years from now look like? How do you act? How are you sitting at that cafe? What are you wearing? Have you lost a lot of weight? Can you see a ring on your finger? Do you have this swagger about you? It's confidence. And what cafe are you sitting at? Are you in your town? Are you somewhere overseas? It always fascinates me what the future holds, because for everyone, what your life, your ideal life looks like could be very different to mine. And my ideal life is not better than yours. And your ideal life is not better than mine. But your ideal life ensures that you are the happiest, healthiest, most joyful, content, and fulfilled version of yourself. Your ideal life, you're living on your terms, by your rules. And everything is working in your favor because you demand it so. You demand the life that makes you happy, that makes you joyful, that makes you content and fulfilled. So the only question now is, are you going to chase it? Are you going to call it into being? Or is it just going to be some airy fairy dream that other people can be happy but not you? Why? Why can't you be happy? Why can't you be successful? Why aren't you allowed to live the kick-ass life? Because I say you have every right to be happy. You have every right to be successful. And you have every right to be living an amazing and an incredible life. So, where to from here? What's the next step? Start writing out your ideal day. Take money out of the equation. Take time out of the equation. You're in complete control. From the minute you wake up to the minute you put your head on your pillow, what does your day look like? Do you have servants? Do you not have servants? Where do you go? What do you do? What do you do for yourself and what do you get done for you? Your ideal day. Start calling forth you sitting at that cafe 5 years from now. And start to cultivate the life that you know makes you happy, joyful, content, and fulfilled. I want to thank you so much for joining me in our session today. I hope that you got incredible value out of it and that you can implement some of the incredible tips and suggestions in today's session. So whether it is your evening or you are just starting your day, have a fantastic Friday. As you know, I never pre-plan the next day's session, so I look forward to joining you tomorrow night, 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you that are going to be doing the Power Talk meditation with me, I will see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Have a fantastic evening or a fantastic morning. I will see you tomorrow night. As always, be safe, be well, much love.